Rabbi Isai, I feel bad. It hit me while I was preparing today that a shear like ours, what is missing? I should have had birds here. Should have had birds.
You could get birds.
Too late. What we could do and we didn't do are two different things.
Why didn't you tell me I would have gotten birds?
That's right.
Think about it.
When I stayed with my son Chaim, I couldn't sleep because the birds made so much noise there.
Oh yeah, he has and there's people that live there and they won't get rid of the birds. They like the noise. It's comforting to them.
Could have bought them for a day and then bought them back.
No, you need pigeons. I have plenty of those on my porch.
Yeah, but you can't catch them.
You don't need live birds. Oh yeah, live birds are really nice. All right. Zok the Mishnah. So this is our final daf, although we're going to finish on Shabbos, but that's already a Gadata, just 10 lines of a Gadata on Shabbos. I think if we were able to get to tomorrow's daf, then we're going to have a pretty short shir on Shabbos. We don't have to be there 45 minutes before. 25 minutes is enough for Shabbos. We could do it today, but we don't want to do that. We want to learn every day. Says the Mishnah. Let's see if we can get there. Bamed Dvarim Amurim, a new Perek Shlishi. We're learning Mishnayis Tamid. Daf Chav Gimel Amid Beis, the last Kinnim. Sorry, what did I just say?
Tamid.
My head isn't Tamid. Okay, I just peeked at the Mishnah over there. Elen Tamid Shabbos. Bamed Dvarim Amurim beKoyin Animloch. This that we had up until now, how you divide it and what you don't do. If different pairs of birds fly into each other, a bird flew here, a bird flew there. He's a good boy. The kohen goes to the rabbi, asks the rabbi what to do. What happens if a kohen didn't ask any questions? He just went ahead and he was makriv of them. He's makriv of all the birds. Now, for instance, we said that if you have equal pairs and they fly into each other, so the Mishnah says you bring half of them. Okay. He went and he brought all of them. Now, very well be that he messed up that half of what he brought is puzzle. Because he brought a chatas above the red line, he brought it where the oil was supposed to be. We don't know. But he did it. He didn't ask any questions. He did it. He made a mistake. He thought he knows the halacha. Boof. So what? Half and half. Once you designated, you took this woman's and you put them all above the red line. No good. Now, the case was, one pair of birds for one woman, one for another woman. What happens, this is the simplest case in the world, he takes all the birds and puts it above the red line. What's the worst case scenario? Half and half. Half that was supposed to be below the red line, they're above the red line. So half are kosher. Mechze kosher, mechze pasul. Kulam lamato, same exact thing, it's just reverse. Mechze kosher, mechze pasul. Chetzen lemalo v'chetzen lamato. What's the best case scenario? Now, he took all the birds, and divided them, put half above and half below the red line. The best case scenario is that he got really lucky, and he was mechaven to the emes. All this woman's birds went above this woman's birds half went above and half went below, and this woman's birds half above and half below. Everybody's yaitza, all the birds are kosher. That's the best case scenario. What's the worst case scenario? He took one woman's birds and put them above the red line.
Below.
Says the Gemara, says the Mishnah, Es shelamalon mechze kosher mechze pasul. So if you took one woman's, all her birds, messed up in the worst case, the best case, what we want him to do is take, let's say you have one pair and one pair. Rachel brought one pair of birds, Leah brought one pair of birds. What's the best case scenario? What was he supposed to do if we knew what to do? Take one bird from Rachel, put it above the red line, and one bird below the red line. Take Rachel's, one above, one below. What's the worst case? He took both of Rachel's and put them above the red line, or both below the red line. So Memel, that's the worst case. So what could we give him? What's the best that we could give this guy? His worst case, and that is half, 50% are kosher. Mechza kosher or mechza pasul. Eshel malon mechza kosher or mechza pasul. Eshel mata mechza kosher or mechza pasul. Okay, that's it. So far, so good. It's not that complicated. They make it, I don't know. In Daf Yomi, it's not complicated. Maybe if you learn it. No, I went to the base measure yesterday here in Chaniche, and the guy was learning. A guy with a nice white beard, he's learning, and he asked me. He couldn't grasp it. I sit there and I explained to him. Then everything was good. But it's like some people they let this take over. I don't know why. Okay.
One of the complications is each of the Mepharshim have a different approach.
Correct. Well, we're not doing it like that. We're not even letting anybody know.
They just did.
There's a Mishnah here, Mishnah Dalid, hey Vav, I forgot what it is, Tferes Yantiv or something, the Tferes Yisrael. Tferes Yisrael says, most hard to understand Mishnahs in all of Shisha Sidra Mishnah. We're going to learn them, no problem, fly right through them, I hope. If I didn't say that, you wouldn't, no, there's no, it's how you gurus and how you this and what, okay. We're just going with the basic pshat. We're not going to stick to Rambam. We're not going to just, like all the Rishonim, the Gra, whatever, and finished. Zok the Mishnah. Achas lezu ushtayim lezu. One woman had one pair. One woman had two pairs. Rabbi Yisai, what's the halacha? If I come to a Rav and I ask the Rav a shayla, they all mixed into each other. What could I bring? What would the Rav say? Anybody remember? First daf of this Masechta 2 days ago. You hear? One pair for Rachel, two pair for Leah. What is the rabbi going to say? Bring the least. One pair. Good. One pair. That's what he says. But the Kohen is not asking questions. The Kohen does what he wants. Achas lezu, shtayim lezu. The halacha was, you take the least amount from the lady that has the least, so that's one pair. You could be makar of it. There's nothing wrong with bringing one above the line, one below the line. The issue becomes when you do more than what the least amount is, which is one pair. If you bring 4 birds instead of 2 birds, now what happens if you took the first lady's all her birds and put it above the red line? Yeah, let's go back to the beginning of the Masechta. You have a case, Rachel brought 2 birds, 1 pair. Leah brought 2 pair. The halacha is, the Kohen could be makriv 1 pair out of the 3 pairs. Why? Because he takes 1 bird, puts it above the red line, 1 bird below the red line. There can't be any problem with 1 bird above the red line, 1 bird below. The problem occurs, what happens if he took 4 out of the 6 birds? Now it's possible that he took 2 out of those 4 birds and put them on top of the red line, and really those are Rachel's birds. He grabbed both the Rachel birds and put them above the red line, and that's a boo-boo. So if you stick to the least amount, you never have a problem. This Kohen doesn't listen to anything. Achas lezu, shtayim lezu, shalosh lezu, esher lezu, me'el lezu. What happens if the worst case here, or not, it's the same exact case, it's just multiplied, and they all have the same halacha. One woman had 1 pair, the other woman had 2 pairs. One woman had 10 pairs, the other woman had 100 pairs. Ten and 100. Mom's like in the olden days. We're getting there. In the new base medrash, yeah. I was printing something for Sukkot yesterday in the printer, and a guy came over to me and said he watches the share every day. He says, I heard all about your new base medrash. I said, come person. So I'm inviting you person. If you're watching now, come. Nachal Gilo 2. Right over here, right over. Not the new base medrash. Right over here to come to the share live.
3, by the way. There's no Gilo 2.
This is 3 Gilo. If he goes to 2, we'll find it.
Say where you park.
Okay. Rabbi Yisai, here's the case. What do we have? This is the case. Very, very simple. Rachel brings 2 birds, Leah brings 4 birds. What's the best case scenario? Best case scenario is the Kohen The Kohen was makriv all these birds. What is the best thing that he could possibly do? Is take one of Rachel's and put it on the bottom, and one of Rachel's put it on top. That's the best case scenario, and then all the birds are kosher. What's the worst case scenario? This is the worst case scenario. He took both of Rachel's birds and put them above the red line. So what happened? How many are kosher and how many are pasul from Rachel? One is pasul. Now, he took Leah's 4 birds, one above the red line. Is that one kosher? Yes, because she has 2 oilos and 2 chatas. So what he did is he gave her 1 oilos. He has 1 bird that's kosher. And then he put 3 of her birds on the bottom. So how many did he mess up over here? Only 1. 2 are good. He's supposed to have 2 chatas and 2 oilos, and that's what he gave her 3 instead of 2.
So if he's only
Leah's supposed to have. Leah has 4 birds, 2 oilos, 2 chatas.
So if he's got 1 above the line, okay, and 2 below the line, okay, that's also okay. They don't have to be matched pairs.
No. These are all Leah's, and by mistake he put 3 of Leah's on the bottom, so he only messed up on the bottom once. And on the top he did fine for Leah.
Even though he's only fine on 1 bird above, he would be fine for...
Yeah, why not? Why not?
They each lose a bird.
Yeah. I mean, if one flies away, what's the difference?
Both lose birds.
So, what do we have here? We have a total of 3 birds that are kosher. Sorry, we have 4 birds that are kosher. 1 and 1 is messed up, right? Rabbi Isai, yeah, you following?
Yeah, got it.
You got it. Okay, good. For Rachel, he messed up 1 bird. For Leah, he messed up 1 bird. Total 2 birds are messed up. So says the Mishnah, very interesting. Any way you multiply this, if you do 100 birds and 10 birds, if you do 100 pairs and 10 pairs, same exact thing would happen. Let's take, for example, 100. That's the hardest case. 100 pairs for Leah, 10 pairs for Rachel.
How come in the beginning of the Mishnah we said that you take from the mu'at, and now here you're saying that half of it is good?
Oh, very good. In the beginning of the Masechta, we said you take from the mu'at. That's when you come to ask a shayla, what should I do? He already did it. We just want to know how many are kosher. He already went ahead and didn't ask questions. He shechted them all. He messed up. It's usher to mess up. He brought 2 of Rachel's on top. That's a big isser.
So how could you say that half of them are kosher?
Not half. 4 out of 6 are kosher. 2/3 are always kosher.
2 are bad.
They're kosher. He was over. He shechted this red one right over here. He's over an isser by shechting it on top of the mizbeach. A chatas goes below, and he shechted a chatas above. It's a no-no. He shouldn't have done it. But now that he did it, how many of these are kosher? I just want a theoretical question. Nafkamina, because later on she's going to bring and try to be mashlim what she messed up.
This is because you didn't ask.
Yes, he didn't ask. Look at the first words in the parak. Everything we learned until now, what you should do is a kohen who goes ask questions, ask the rabbi. A kohen that didn't ask questions, he just went ahead and shechted everything. What's the worst case scenario when a kohen shechs? Rachel brought 1 pair, Leah brought 2 pairs. What's the worst case scenario? Is that he messed up 1 out of each woman.
Each woman has to bring 1 more bird.
Correct, exactly. So now halachically, each woman should bring 1 more bird, or whatever the nafkamina is. Okay? Now, let's try to do this balpeh. I didn't really chazer this. 100 pairs and 10 pairs. How many birds do we have? 220. Yes? 220 birds. What's the worst case scenario? That he shechted 20 birds, 10 pairs of Rachel on top of the red line. That's the worst case scenario. How many of those are pasul? Half. So we have 10 kosher ones. How many birds do we have left on top of the red line that belong to Leah? No, we started out.
220.
No.
Minus 20.
No, 110. Half of 220 is 110. He shechted 20 above the red line. How many do we have of Leah above the red line? You're not helping me. 90. 90 of Leah. This is 110 total, minus 20, 90.
It's supposed to be.
Are those 90 kosher or puzzle?
Half of it.
All of it is kosher because Leah brings 100 pairs. No, let's start again. Leah brought 100 pairs of birds. 100 pairs of birds equals how many? 200. Rachel brought 10 pairs of birds, a total of 20. The Kohen put everything on the mizbeach, half and half. What's the worst case scenario? Best case scenario is 10 out of Rachel's birds went on top, 10 on the bottom, and 100 on top for Leah and 100 on the bottom for Leah. All the birds are kosher. What's the worst case scenario? Give me the worst case. The worst case is that he put all of Rachel's birds on the top of the red line. Somehow he's matzliach to do the worst case. He put all of her birds, all 20 birds on top of the red line.
Half of them are good.
Half of them are good, half of them are treif, are puzzle. 10 are good. Now above the red line, how many are left? How many did he shecht? 110 above the red line, 110 below the red line. So if 20 are already of Rachel's, how many are left of Leah's above the red line? 90. All of those 90 are kosher because she has to bring 110 above the red line. And he only gave her 90. So 90 are kosher, plus the 10 of Rachel is 100 are kosher. Now let's go to the below the red line. All of the 110 below the red line are whose? Are Leah's. Because we took all of Rachel's, we put them above the red line. Out of those 110, how many are kosher? 100. Memela, we have 200 kosher birds. We have 200 kosher birds and 20 puzzle birds. It's the same ratio. In other words, the way we look at it, the minimum of kosher is the total amount of the most birds. The minimum of the kosher birds, it's not that complicated, is all of what Leah brought. She brought 200 kosher.
They gave 200 kosher.
That's it, there's 200
How would
kosher.
that be?
Because, no, there's not after wasn't the good. Because,
You made it as if everything is okay by Leah. 100
Here.
on the top and 100 on the bottom.
so let's go back to the simplest case. The simplest case is that you put all of Rachel's birds on top
She brought two.
and all of Leah's birds on the bottom,
Right.
and then you have this left over. So we have a total of 4 birds that
Why
are
do you have this
kosher.
left over? Everything was put on the bottom.
Because you had 6 total.
No, you have 6 total. You have 6 total. 1 pair for Rachel, 2 pair for Leah, 6 total. 3 top, 1 bottom.
It's all mixed up.
So one of these is kosher. One of Rachel's is kosher. Half of Rachel's is always kosher. So you have to take that half, and everything of Leah's is kosher. And maybe you have a situation where 4 birds are kosher and 2 are treif, because Leah only needs 2 birds on the bottom, so one of Leah's is treif. 2 are kosher, plus the one on top is kosher. So you have 4 birds that are kosher. In other words, the total amount of Leah's birds, which are 4, are kosher. So the total amount in a situation with 200 birds, you'll have 200 birds that are kosher and 100 that are puzzle. 2/3 are kosher, 1/3 is treif.
It wasn't complicated. And all of a sudden it was
It's not gonna-
Why do they have to?
No, it's so simple. It's just maybe it's hard to explain. Maybe I'm explaining it
You
wrong.
can't have more than what's assigned.
What?
You just can't have more than what's assigned. If there's 100 oilers, you can't have more than 100.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's the. Now you're just complicating.
He's right.
Let's see inside. Let's see inside. Chetzin lamalo v'chetzin lamato hameruba kosher. Whichever woman brought the most, all of her amount, not all of her birds, but whatever amount she brought is kosher. Ze haklal. Kol makom shata yochel lachaloik es hakinim shelayu mishel isha achas. If you could do it where one woman would be all above and one woman would be all below, not like in our case, because in our case it's 1/3 and 2/3, then mechza kosher, mechza puzzle. Then you have 50-50. But in a situation where you can't fit all of one woman's on the top row, like in our case, Rachel only gets 2 out of the 3 on the top row. It doesn't matter if you switched it up, you put all of hers on the bottom or all of hers on top. Hamiruba kosher, whatever the most, the larger amount is, that's the amount that's kosher. Should we move weiter or repeat this?
No, don't repeat. Whatever you do.
Chatos lezu, oila lezu. We have a couple of easy ones here. Chatos lezu, oila lezu. We have a situation where a woman designated a chatos and the other woman designated an oila. In other words, just as a simple situation, a woman brought one of her korbanos. Two women, they each brought one of their korbanos, but they brought the opposite one. Rachel brought her oila, Leah brought her chatos. Now they owe one korban.
I was still talking about that first.
The whole Masechta, it's called Kinnim. It's all birds. We're not discussing anything else but a bird. Chatos lezu, oila lezu. So Rachel brought a chatos, Leah brought a oila. Also kulan lemalon. Rabbi Isai, if you bring a chatos and a oila above the red line, what happens? The oila is good. So half is puzzle, half is kosher. Kulan lemalon mechze kosher, mechze puzzle. Kulan lemata, if you bring all of them below, Judah, I need you. If all of them are below the red line, chatos is kosher. Mechze kosher. Rabbi Isai, if you don't.
Good thing to remember.
Yeah. Where's the thing to remember? Here's the thing to remember because Avi wasn't here. Oila lemala. There's an ayin and an ayin, so you remember it's lemala. Over here, this is a test. This is the mefarish. The mefarish wrote.
Red line.
I should. Oh. Very nice. At least I was mechamed to put it above. Yeah.
Ola is sticking up, Chatos is sticking down.
Wow. Why? No, it's a test. Oh, you mean the tough at the end,
I'm saying the Ola, the ayin of the Ola is up.
and the tough of the chatos.
No, the Chatos, the Ches.
Oh, very nice.
And how do you make that fit to an animal carbon?
Like it. That's.
Ola is
You know what? That's very chashuv.
Animal carbon, the other
You hear what he's saying? The ches of a chatos goes downwards, and the ayin of the oila goes upwards. Very nice.
And that's why you turn an animal upside down to shkita. It doesn't fit what he's saying. It doesn't make any sense. Because for animals, it's the other
It's good for a memory aid is great. Okay. Mechza kosher, mechza pasel. So if you did kulan lamata, you did all of them below the red line, and one of them is a oila, so of course you're going to be pasel. Whoa, we had that already. Chetzion lemalon, those are saved, I don't know what you're doing. Chetzion lemalon v'chetzion lematon. Now, what happens if he went ahead and he did half and half? Shteyin psulois. Right? Rabbi Isai. He has in front of him an oila and a chatos. And he mixes them up. And they all look the same. And he goes and he puts one above the red line and one below the red line. What's the worst case scenario? That he took the chatos and he put it above the red line. He put the oila and the below the red line. There's no chiddush here. This is simple. So shteyin psulois. Shani oimer. Chatos, kreva lamalo, they put the chatos above the red line, voila lamaton, and the oila has two things sticking upwards, so it shouldn't be below the red line. Mela, it's bad. So this was mamash agadata, and it's gonna remain like that until the end of the Masechta. Here's the Mishnah, 30 what?
30 minutes.
Wow, B'li ayin hara. Give me one of those because this guy doesn't understand why everybody's okay. Fine. Chatos va'oila stumo mufureshes. Okay, so there's a way to read it. We're going to read it very simple. This is the Mishnah I told you. That's one of the hardest Mishnahs, and you'll see that it's hard to understand. It's hard. It's one of the hardest Tiferes Yisraels, in my opinion, to understand. Okay, fine. Why is this such a hard Mishnah? Chatos va'oila. You have one woman brought a chatos, one woman brought a oila. Stuma, and one pair was undesignated, and one pair was mefurish. Maybe this is what they have a difficulty. What's the difference between one chatas and one oila and a mefurish? Mefurish means that it's a chatas and oila. The difference is because the mefureshes, you have one pair, two birds that are not. It's not clear which woman they belong to. They decided that this one is a chatas, this one is a oila, but they never said, oh, this chatas is for Rachel, this chatas is for Leah. It's both of them, they're partners. Okay? So it's mefurish but not mefurish. Mefurish, what designation it has, if it's a chatas or an oila, not mefurish if it's Rachel or Leah. They bought it jointly. Everything is together. So you have a chatas and a oila, a sasam and mefurish. Also, kulan malon. If he did everything above the red line, what happens? Mechza kosher, mechza pasel. The same thing as we learned up until now. If you put everything above the red line, so you're going to get lucky that half of them, 50% is supposed to be oilers, and 50% went above the red line. And the half that's chatas went above the red line, so the pasel. Kulan lamaton. Oh, but this is very complicated. If they're below the red line, then what happens? Same exact thing. Mechza kosher, mechza pasel. Chetzin lamala v'chetzin lamaton. What if you put half of them above the red line and half of them below the red line? Ein kosher ela stuma. So now, if you just had a chatos and an oila, forget about all the rest, and you put one above and one below, what do we say? They're both possible. Because perhaps you put the chatos above and the oila below. So that is pashut. Then you took the other mafurish, the third group. There's three groups: a chatas and oila, and a sasum, and a mafurish. If you take the mafurish,
What's the first chatos and oila? Definite?
No.
it was designated as a chatos and an oila.
But what is it? That's a
Yeah, it's a mafurish. It's a mafurish. I said before that you could have a shiloh. What the difference in mafurish is? I said that the second mafurish means that it's designated as a chatas and oila, but not to which woman. But the second mafurish, the third group, is also possible. Why? Because maybe you flipped it over. You put the oil on the bottom and the chatas on the top. The sasum, what happens to the sasum? It's great. The sasum, I can do whatever I want with. So memela and kosher is stuma. The pair, and I know how to differentiate between the pairs. The pair that is sasum is not designated is fine, because the kohen can decide right then and there. I want this on top of the red line and this on the bottom of it. What does that mean? Now, the two of them together must go ahead and buy another pair and say that whatever was chatos, whatever went above the red line is the oila, and now we're buying a new chatos to be a pair to it, and we're going to buy a oila for the chatos. Because they're buying two more birds and they partner again, and everything is good.
They actually bought the birds of shitfus.
Yeah, they bought everything b'shutfus, and memela now they just have to pull together money to buy another two birds to be yaitze their chayva. Why? Because all they have between the two of them, two women must bring 4 birds, and we said only 2 out of the 6 birds are kosher. So they need to buy another 2 birds and bring another 2 birds on to the mizbech. Says the Mishnah. Mishnah Hey.
This one's probably a hard one.
Chatois, nothing is hard. Everything is easy. Chatois shenisarvu b'choiva. If chatas birds flew in to your birds that you have to bring as a yoledes. You're a woman who gave birth. You're bringing 2 birds, and a chatas bird flew into there. Ein kosher elo minyan chatois shebachoiva. If a woman brings 1 pair of birds, how many chatois are there in that 1 pair? 1. So if she brought 1 pair of birds, and she has, let's say, 2 chatos birds somewhere, then only 1 bird is kosher. 1 bird is kosher. The amount of birds in the chayva. The easiest case. What's the easiest case? 1 pair. So a lady brings 1 pair, undesignated. 1 is a chatas, 1 is a oila, plus 2 chatas birds that she says, these are chatas, I have to bring them for my other 2 birds that I forgot to bring. Total of 3 chatas. Only 1 of them is kosher. Why? Because what's the worst case scenario? That he put the chatos on top of the red line. Memela. He put 2 chatas above the red line and 2 birds below the red line. So that gives you 1 bird only that's kosher, because only 1 bird for sure is a chatas that went below the red line. It's possible that he took 2 chatos. Again, what's the setup? 1 pair of birds is an oil and a chatos, plus 2 chatos. That's total of 3 chatos birds, and he put half and half. So you have 2 chatos on top, and a 3rd chatos on the bottom, and oil on the bottom. So 1 chatos is kosher. Chatosh nisarva b'choiva ain't kosher elo min chatosh b'choiva. Now,
Someone's gonna write themselves. Kinnim, or you assume the best. It's gonna be very sure. It all worked out, and I'll call the study.
if then it's all the same case. What?
Why'd she bring a chatas and an older she bring chatos?
No. One is her chayva, her obligation for her leida.
And then two of them are for the
And two of them were for a different chatas that she owed, something else. But her chayva is here. Now, here's a little thingy. I apologize for not bringing real birds. Apologize for not bringing more charts. Oh, we have 13 minutes.
It's suspicious you have the Egyptian hieroglyphics.
I hear you saying, can I have a little Wasser, please? Shkoyach.
You should make great coffee.
Yeah? Maybe he didn't use yesterday's coffee like he always does. Now you're learning that. Yeah, but sometimes he uses it 3 times instead of replacing it in between the. Okay. Just say I want from the first batch, please. All right. Rabbi Isai, first of all,
He reuses the cups.
Be'ezer Hashem, on the first day of Sukkot, which is what? Monday morning. Monday morning after davening in Bnei Yeshivas, whenever that is, or usually what? 11 o'clock, I remember. I'm making a kiddush rabbah in my sukkah. It's a world famous kiddush. People fly in from Chutz La'aretz for it. Schlesingers walk in from Ramat Bet, but that's it. The only family. There are unbelievable pekelach for the kids. We sat up yesterday. We made this crazy pekelach, crazy amount of it. There's sushi, fresh sushi on the spot. The sushi chef from Yossi from what do you call it? That guy. There's cholent, herring, kugel, schnitzel, liver, picha, bekitzer, and the kids liver also. Liver. Ain't no bnei adam. We're not humans. The oil means there a lot of liquor. Bekitzer. Oh, Stam as a derech hagav. I hope my son-in-law is not watching. I told my son-in-law, and Gary was there. Yeshua will testify. I told my son-in-law, "Could you please buy me some wine?" I exaggerate not. He gave me the bill, $2,000.
Oh my God, what are you buying?
He bought me some wine. And then last night, and Yeshua was there. He sent me a text, and Gary's there. He sent me a text. I'm in the wine store. There's a sale. This is after 2 days ago. Okay. I'm not serving all 2,000 at the kiddush, but some of it will be there. Akopanim. That's on the first. That's in the first morning. Then, after that, every morning, Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to have a gala breakfast in different sukkahs. We have in Avi Kamiansky's sukkah, and in Mendy's sukkah, and in Menachem Ata's sukkah, and in my sukkah. So Be'ezer Hashem, the shir will be there. It's usually, I think, at 10 o'clock after davening. And there's always very good food. The way we got Gary last year was through the sukkah. He came, the first time was on sukkahs, right? And that's it. It was a tremendous pickup for the shir.
Imagine what the does that mean I don't have to build a sukkah?
It was a little quieter, but we didn't have charts online. All right. Zog, now that we spent very valuable time. All right. So the item is we made last year. I made 200 and something bags for kids, and every kid was only supposed to take one, and we ran out of bags. So that means there's over 200 kids this year. Yes. A lot of, I'm not kidding. A lot of people change around their yontif plans where they go. They go to the parents on the second days because the kids don't let them leave because of these pekla. Anyways, fine. Zokt. What? Yeah. No. Whatever. We're not going to go there. A little bit more than the wine, but not much. All right, Zok the Mishnah. Where are we holding? Oh, Choyva Shnayim Shebechatos. If, where are we? If there was double the amount of Choyva. You guys see what's going on here? These 4 birds without a ches are the Choyva. These are the obligatory birds that this woman has to bring. If they were double the amount of the Chatas birds, she still has Chatas birds sitting aside. She owes the Beis Hamikdash Chatas birds. She brought, these are designated Chatas. If they are double the amount, okay, what happens? Now, sorry. What's the Levi? You'd love this. What's the worst case scenario?
They all flew away.
This is the worst case. The worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is that the two chatas birds made it above the red line. That's horrible, or horrible. How do they say it in English? In England?
Horrible.
Horrible. Horrible. Okay, I'll say there.
Unimaginable.
It's not. It's not Chicago. It's not horrible, but it's not in New York. Okay, it's in between us. Fine. If you brought the two chatos above the red line, it's a tremendous problem. Those two guys are goners because they're above the red line. Mechza kosher umechza pasul. In this case, Rabbi say, if he had 6 birds, because it's double, the chayva is double than the chatos. This is chayva 4, double the 2 chatos. So what we have a situation is, and he put half on top and half on the bottom. You have a situation that half the birds are kosher and half are non-kosher, because if the chayva, from the chayva, 2 belong below and 2 belong above. And in here, he only put 1 above and 2 below, so you get 3 birds that are kosher and 3 birds that are treif. Mechza kosher, mechza pasul. Now, next case, we have a chart, and that's the last one for today. If the chatos birds are double that of the obligatory birds, this is her chayva, these 2 over here, and this 4 chatas birds. What's the worst case scenario? That you put all 3 chatas birds above the red line, and memela what? You're left with 2 kosher ones, because 1 made it below the red line of the chatas, and 1 of the obligatory birds made it below the red line, so you got 2 kosher. So it's the reverse. Bekitzer, it's the reverse. You get 1/3 are kosher and 2/3 are treif, are pasul. If the chatas birds are double that of the chayva, like in this case right over here, haminyan, the amount of chatos that are kosher, shebachayva kosher. Whatever is in the chayva, in this case, is only 2 birds of her obligation. So that's the amount, not from these birds, but the amount. If she has to bring 2 birds, if you have a situation where 2 birds are from her chayva, then you have 2 birds that are kosher. Rabbi say there's 0 chidushim here. The same exact thing that we just said until now, but instead of putting the word chatos, you put in the word oila. It fits right in. V'chein oila shenisarva b'chayva ein kosher ela minyan oila shebachayva. So oila that got mixed up with a chayva 1 and 1 ein kosher ela minyan oila shebachayva. Only 1 out of the 2 out of the 4 birds is kosher. Chayva shnayim, right? Because the same exact thing, but in reverse. Because the worst case scenario is that the 2 oilos of that were added over here made it to the bottom. So memela, what happened is that 1 oila made it to the top, and a chatas made it to the top. So memela, only 1 out of the 4 birds is kosher.
When is the agadat is coming?
The agadat is coming, literally the first word of Daf Chafei. But before we get there, we have one interesting Mishnah, but it's very, very simple.
You can treat this like that also.
It's not that hard. Come on. It's the Magichir. If the amount of the birds that she had to bring are double that of the oila, I even did it here by mistake. No, where was it? Over here. Instead of the ches, you put an ayin, 2 oilas, and 4 chayva. Then what happens? Mechza kosher, mechza pasul. 3 out of the 6 are, we explained before. Oila shnayim b'chayva. And if it's this case, instead of ches, you put ayins, is 4 oilas and 2. But you have to reverse it. What's the worst case scenario? You took these 3 birds, the oilas, and you put them below the red line because they're oilas. What's the worst case scenario for an oila to be below the red line? Amin shebachayva kosher. So however many birds that she had to bring as an obligation, which is 2, that's kosher. Givaldik. Next Mishnah. No charts. It's so simple, no charts. I didn't have time. I wanted to bring my charts. We learned this exact Mishnah in Zvachim. You all remember from there. And I made a whole thing and I was cutting out pigeons and zachin. I have it somewhere and I didn't have time. I thought I was going to have time this morning to find it and I didn't. But it's fine. Harei ken lekeshe'elad. I didn't know then that they had a whole 17 books. If you go down Sizah Chaniche, there's a whole row of people that were mechaber sfarim on Kinnim, and it's in color and it's this and that. Oh, he has it. Fine, you could open it up for us. Ha'isha, open it up. Show them a picture, a nice color picture, how it looks. Yeah, flip it around. It looks scary. Ha'isha sha'amro. Here, show me again one more time. Hold on. No?
Zoom.
By the way,
You
that
could use
bird,
Zoom? I don't know if you
think
can
I
do.
saw
Oh, you
last
could do.
night in the
Beseder. Okay.
Yes, so that exactly.
We have exactly 3 minutes to do the most complicated Mishnah in Kinnim. That's not that complicated. Zok the Mishnah, Ha'isha sha'amro, harei alai ken lekeshe'elad zachar. If I give birth to a male, I want to bring an additional 2 birds. What are those birds? Oilus or chatos? Only oilus. Because a neder could only be an oila. So Memela, how many oilus is she going to bring now to the Beis HaMikdash? 3 and 1 chatos. Because for obligatory she has to bring 1 and 1, and for her neder she has to bring 2 oilus. Now, it's brought down in the Rishonim, it's a good thing. And you can learn from here a yisoid, that when you have a zachar and you want him to be a big tzaddik, you bring something at the birth. You bring something l'kavod the zachar. It's very interesting. That was the minig then. If I give birth to a male, I will bring an extra 2 birds. Yolda zachar, we're talking about a poor woman who has to bring, this whole Masechta is talking about a poor woman who brings birds instead of, because otherwise she would have to bring 1 animal. Yolda zachar mevio shtei kinim. Achas lenidra v'achas l'chayva. So of course she has to bring 1 pair for her chayva, which adds up to 1 oila and 1 chatos, and then
automatically 2 also.
her neder. Yeah, she said Cain. Cain is 2. Cain and it's 2 oilas. So she has to bring 1 pair of oilas for her neder. This is great. Since she brought 4 birds, 3 out of the 4 are oilos. They go above the red line like a 9. 1 below the red line. Now, if that was the end of the story, we could close the Masechta and go on. But we're talking about a coin that messed up and doesn't know what's flying. And the worst case scenario. What is the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario is, Rabbi say, that there's something called a pigeon and there's something called a turtle dove. And what happens if the woman said, I want to bring the turtle dove for, and she forgot what she said. But it could be she meant for the oilos, it could be she meant for the chatos. And the kohen took it and mixed it up. That's the whole thing, that's the end of the story. So that's the worst case scenario, and now we need to know what to do. He didn't do it like that. Oh. He didn't ask any questions, he didn't ask the Rav what to do. Very, very simple. She was obligated in bringing 3 no. She had to bring 3 oilos and 1 chatos, and instead he did 2 oilos and 2 below the line. So her chatos, she for sure was yotze. Her oilos, she for sure is yotze 2. All she's missing is 1. Mama's geniuses. Do we need to think for this? No. So far, no. And where does he bring this oila? Where does he put it? Above the red line of the and he brings it above the red line. Rabbi say, here's the end of the vacation. That's because there's only pigeons over here in the mix. But what happens if she brought 2 minim, shnei minim? Now, we need to know 1 yisoid, and that's it. The chayva, let's say a woman brings 4 birds, whatever the kohen is makra first goes for what? Chayva. Remember that yisoid. Whatever he's makra first goes for her leda. Then whatever's left over goes for her neder. Okay. Yes. It's automatic. It's not ma'akev. It's just a fact of life. As he brings the 2 first birds, there's no discussion here. They become, unless of course she said these birds are my neder and these birds are my chayva, then, but I'm saying they're all in a mix. Mishnei minin tavi shtayim. Now, should we stop here and continue on Shabbos a little bit?
Yeah.
Because on Shabbos, I'm telling you, Rabbi, we could go through Omid Aleph, and Omid Beis in 6 minutes. So we'll just stop here. Maybe I'll bring a chart or two.
What time is Shabbos?
What time is Mincha? We should go. Do we need 10 minutes for this?
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock is Mincha? Okay, so 5:30. 5:30 in Shabbos. Oh, 5 o'clock, sorry, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock Shir on Shabbos, sorry, 5 o'clock. B'nai Yeshivas.
When comes to you?